If you've ever felt like someone saw straight through you the moment you met, like they knew exactly what you needed to hear, exactly what kind of love you were hungry for, you weren't imagining it. They did see you, but not the way you hoped. They weren't falling in love with you. They were running a quiet, methodical calculation, scanning for openings, testing your responses, filing away everything you gave them. And the terrifying part? Most people never realize it happened. They just spend years wondering why someone who once felt like home slowly became the most dangerous person in their life. Today, we're going inside the narcissist's mind, not to villainize, not to frighten, but because understanding how they operate is the only way to protect yourself. Here's what most people get wrong about narcissists. They don't target the weak. They target the kind. Research in personality psychology consistently shows that narcissists are drawn to people with high empathy, strong nurturing instincts, and a deep need to fix or heal others. People who feel deeply, people who give generously, people who believe genuinely that love is enough to change someone. Think about the people you know who've been in toxic relationships. Were they naive? Were they foolish? No. They were loving. The narcissist selection process is quiet and precise. In those early conversations, they're not charming you. They're studying you. They're listening for the things you say about past relationships, for how you talk about people who've hurt you, for how quickly you forgive. They're looking for a specific combination: emotional openness and a high pain threshold. Someone who will stay, someone who will try. Because the narcissist doesn't just want a partner. They want an audience, a mirror. Someone whose admiration they can consume and whose loyalty they can test again and again without consequence. You weren't chosen because you were easy to fool. You were chosen because you were worth taking from. Once they've found you, the performance begins. And it is a performance. The narcissist doesn't fall in love. They construct love. They build a version of themselves that is perfectly calibrated to match your deepest needs. The one you've been waiting for. The one who finally understands you. The one who makes everything feel possible. This is what psychologists call mirroring. They reflect back your values, your dreams, your sense of humor. If you love poetry, suddenly they love poetry. If you value loyalty above everything, they talk about loyalty constantly. It feels like fate, like you finally met your person. But here's what's actually happening beneath the surface. They're building debt. With every moment of magic they create, every perfect date, every text that arrives exactly when you needed it, every time they seem to know what you're feeling before you say it, they're building an account. Your account. And one day, they'll start making withdrawals. The warmth will cool. The attention will shift. And instead of leaving, you'll try harder. Because you've seen who they can be. And you'll spend the rest of the relationship trying to bring that person back. That's the trap, and it was built on purpose. To understand a narcissist, you have to understand one core truth about how they experience the world. They don't see people. They see functions. You are not a person to them. You are a role. The admirer. The caretaker. The one who makes them feel powerful. And as long as you play that role perfectly, things are fine. The moment you stop, the moment you express a need of your own, or push back, or simply have a bad day, something shifts. Because in their internal world, your purpose was to serve them, and anything that disrupts that feels like a personal attack. Psychologists describe narcissism as a disorder rooted in profound shame. Deep beneath the confidence and the charm, there is a self that feels fundamentally broken, worthless, invisible. The grandiosity, the need for constant admiration, the rage when criticized, the inability to acknowledge fault, all of it is armor, built to protect a self that never learned it was enough. This doesn't make what they do acceptable, but it does explain it. You were never dealing with a fully present human being. You were dealing with someone whose entire inner world was organized around one desperate project, never feeling that emptiness again. So how do you recognize one before it's too late? Not by looking for monsters, by noticing patterns. The first sign is what I call the intensity mismatch. The relationship moves unnaturally fast. Within weeks, sometimes days, they're talking about the future, calling you their soulmate, making you feel like you've known each other forever. That speed isn't romance, it's a technique. The second is the empathy gap. When you're in pain, something feels off. They listen, but their eyes stay distant. They say the right words, but there's no warmth behind them. And when you need real comfort, they somehow make the conversation about themselves. Third, the reaction to criticism. You don't have to criticize them directly. Simply having a different opinion, saying you're unhappy about something small, or failing to praise them, any of these can trigger a disproportionate response. Silence, rage, guilt-tripping. A sudden coldness that leaves you frantically trying to fix something you don't even fully understand. And fourth, perhaps the most telling, the pattern of everyone else being the problem. Every ex was crazy. Every boss was unfair. Every friend eventually betrayed them. If the story of someone's life is full of villains and they're always the victim, ask yourself who the common thread is. These aren't guarantees, but they're signals worth taking seriously. If you're in this right now, or if you've been in it before, there's something I need you to hear. Getting out is not about being strong enough to stop loving them. That framing is wrong, and it's kept more people trapped than almost anything else. Getting out is about understanding what you were actually experiencing. You weren't in love with a person. You were in love with a reflection of your own deepest needs. The person you loved, the one who understood you perfectly, who made you feel seen, was a construction, a mirror. And when that mirror cracked, you kept trying to repair it because you didn't want to lose what you had found. But here is the truth that changes everything. That version of them was never real. You can't lose what was never there. The path out is not dramatic. It doesn't require confrontation or closure or a final conversation. Research consistently shows that narcissists don't grant closure. They use final conversations as opportunities to regain control. What it requires is distance, time, and a deliberate decision to redirect the energy you spent trying to understand them back toward understanding yourself. Because at the end of this, the most important question isn't why they did it. It's what it tells you about what you needed, and how you can learn to give that to yourself. Understanding the narcissist doesn't make you immune, but it makes you different from who you were before you watched this. Because now you know what to look for. You know the difference between someone who loves you and someone who needs you. Between genuine connection and strategic performance, between a relationship that builds you and one that slowly, quietly takes you apart. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it. Not to diagnose anyone, but because the greatest gift you can give someone is the language to understand what they're experiencing. Next week, we're going one level darker. We're talking about psychopaths, how they differ from narcissists, how they think, and the chilling research on what separates them from the rest of us. Subscribe, because this is information that changes how you see everything. This is the Mind Vault.